Mr. Washington.
General, sir.
Well, General Washington. You can refer to me as Colonel. Mr. Washington, I'd personally like to thank you for your foresight and that instrument that governs this great nation of ours. Mr. Jefferson, I've often spoken ill of you, but I must say this. I have great admiration for your foresight in purchasing the Louisiana Territory, for if not he had done that, we would not be gathered here in East Grand Rapids High School in the great state of Michigan this evening. Mr. Lincoln, I heartily thank you for keeping this great nation of ours together, for your tireless efforts, and I might add, at the price of your life eventually. We are not, and never shall be, a government of the plurocracy. We are not, and never shall be, a government of a mob. We are a nation ruled by laws laid down by our Constitution. My friends, in order to be a good American, first you must be a good citizen. I understand there are Boy Scouts in the audience tonight. Is that true? No, they didn't make it. Well, that's too bad. But on the whole, there is no finer instrument in producing good citizens than the Boy Scout movement and Girl Scout movement in this great nation of ours. You know, there's nothing outstanding or brilliant about my career. There really isn't, except perhaps this. Whenever I find something's right, I act. Going back to my early days in the Assembly in the state of New York in my 20s, where I rose like a rocket, for I got up on the floor and challenged the legislator on certain things. Of course, I incurred a tragedy. You see, 2 days after my beloved wife Alice delivered a beautiful baby girl, which we named Alice, 2 days after that, on Valentine's Day, both my mother and my beloved wife Alice passed away in the same house, 6 hours apart. When my dearest died, the light had gone from my life forever. How do you overcome something like that? Sir, do you have any idea you'd overcome something like that? Well, let me tell you, and tell you all, a man could have two kinds of problems. One that can be fixed and one that cannot. Now I suggest the sooner you start working on the problem that can be fixed, the better off you shall feel. As for the problem that cannot be fixed, the sooner you move on, the better off you shall feel. I spent 2 years cattle ranching out in the Dakotas, in a little town called Medora. I'll tell you right now, my friends, if it were not for my time spent in experiences in North Dakota, I never would have become President of the United States. I did not run, or as our Excellency here would say, stand for the presidency. I came about it in a rather unusual way. You see, as governor of New York, I was a little bit too much of a reformer for Boss Platt, United States Senator from New York. In fact, I believe his exact words were, "I want that man out of my state." Reluctantly, I accepted to run on McKinley's ticket for his second term. Oh, I think I'd rather be anything else than a president. And Mr. Jefferson can back me up on this. You weren't very fond of the office, were you?
No, sir. In fact, the second happiest day of my life was when I took leave of that great burden.
All right. Just a yes or no would suffice. I think I'd almost want to be anything else. Perhaps a history professor, then vice president. I remember Mark Hanna, senator from Ohio. His statement was, "My God, there's but one heartbeat between that damn cowboy and this nation of ours." Well, I suppose, although it wouldn't be proper, definitely be out of school for me to say, But I should thank one gentleman from Michigan, one Leon Shogash, who worked in the lumber camps in the state, an anarchist who dispatched McKinley at the Pan American Exposition in 1901. On September 14th, upon McKinley's passing, I was sworn in as our 26th president in the city of Buffalo in New York. Now, it's a dreadful thing, my friends. It's a dreadful thing to ascend to the presidency in that manner, but it would have been a far worse thing to have been mortified. And I'll tell you this, no man has enjoyed being president more than I. I don't believe I asserted executive power, but I do believe I greatly broadened its use. Well, for the betterment for our citizens. Fighting for legislation that protected free commerce, to bust the trust and the malefactors of great wealth, to put aside land for our children's children. It's not what we have that will make us a great nation. It is the way in which we use it. We are not building this nation of ours but for a day. It will last for the ages. I believe the nation behaves wisely if it treats its natural resources as assets which it must, to know the next generation, increased in value and not impaired. Oh, I recognize the right and duty of this generation to use and develop our natural resources. But I do not recognize the right to rob by wasteful use the generations that follow. Our United States Navy. There's an old West African proverb that goes, speak softly, carry a big stick, and you shall go far. If we were to keep at the highest pitch a thorough, modern, and efficient Navy, then that should make the peace of this nation go far. I believe the greatest service I rendered towards peace was sending the battle fleet around the world. Another one of my accomplishments was a little ditch. Anybody know where? Yes. Shaved off 8,000 miles around South America, both for commerce and for defensive purposes. Now, I suppose the proper thing would have been to send Congress a report, nothing less than 200 pages, and leave Congress to debate the report. Instead, I took the isthmus and left Congress to debate me. And they're welcome to debate me as long as they want, so far as the canal goes on. I'm sure you gentlemen have had your problems with the legislative branch of our government, have you not? Well, of course, one of the solutions, 3 weeks after I left the presidency, I promised to send back the first lion I should come across, release in Congress to perform its duty. My friends, the presidency of this nation is a hard and responsible job, but you can have a great deal of fun with it too, and you can create good things. You know, far better it is to dare mighty things, and they often accuse me of daring mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, although checkered by failure, and to take the rank with those poor spirits that neither enjoy much nor suffer much, for they dwell in that great twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. The only man, I repeat, the only man who makes no mistakes is the man who does nothing.